What's good, people? It is Tony the Savant. And before we get started, please like this video, share this video, hit the notification bell so you can be notified when I'm dropping content and going live on the channel. As well, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. As I drop content daily, go live daily, stay very busy on the platform. And last but not least, please leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section, as I'm always intrigued to hear what you all have to say about these topics. And ladies and sports fans, and gentlemen, we got to talk about the Alabama Crimson Tide as they fall to the I'm going to say Tallahassee, Tennessee Volunteers, 24-17. And I don't know, man. We might have to get Nick Saban back, or I don't know what's going on in Alabama, man. They started off so promising, getting that very big win against Georgia about 2 or 3 weeks ago now. And, it's like they win a big game, lose a big game. Win a good game, win a close game, lose a close game. And you definitely can't take these falls to an SEC rival, as the Tennessee Volunteers have had their own shakiness this year. I believe they took a loss to the Arkansas Razorbacks. Let me check that real quick. I believe they did take a loss to the Arkansas Razorbacks, but nonetheless, man, they were able to escape this game with a win, and it's just I'm starting to see some things. Arkansas beat them earlier, about 2 weeks ago themselves, and they had a close one with Florida last week. So Tennessee has not been without their own flaws, but they were able to string enough to plays together to win this game. And I just think that the Alabama Crimson Tide don't have an identity, man. You're really starting to see the value of a Nick Saban in this situation. No knock on Coach DeBoer, but it's just something to say as far as the dominance that Alabama displayed. Now I know NILs and transfer portals are in that equation nowadays, but this is Alabama. Off the name alone, off the program alone, you're getting all sorts of recruits, but they have been playing with their food, man. And again, I'm thinking these guys miss Nick Saban more than we thought they were, more than we thought they would. But I'm gonna read this article real quick from ESPN.com, as they covered this game pretty well. I was able to watch most of this game. I was, when it come down to Saturdays and Sundays, I'm clicking through 2 or 3 channels on 2 or 3 TVs. So I was trying to keep up with a multitude of games, but I thought Alabama would have had this one in the bag, honestly. And I know at one point this game was like 17-14, I think. Uh, and so I just thought Alabama would go ahead and finish them off, but boy, was I mistaken. So let's go ahead and read this article really quick. Sampson scores twice. I cannot say this kid's name, man. I always hear him say it on TV. The quarterback for Tennessee, man. Respectfully, I don't want to butcher the young man's name. Let's just say Eam. Nope, I can't say it. Eam overcomes early struggles in Tennessee's 24-17 victory over Alabama. Cigars were lit and goalposts came down as thousands of fans celebrated number 11 Tennessee's 24-17 victory over number 7 Alabama Saturday. Chris Brazile II made a driving 16-yard touchdown catch from Nico. We're going to call him Nico. I'm going to just keep it there. Midway through the fourth quarter to give the Volunteer defense 21-17 lead to work with. Dylan Sampson rushed for 139 yards and 2 touchdowns for the Vols, who are now 6-1 and 3-1 in the SEC conference. The victory keeps Tennessee in the hunt for a college football playoff spot. That's how they've played all year. Tennessee coach Josh Heupel said I hope I'm saying his name right, said of his defense. How they played tonight kept us in the ball game. Offensively, we were a little bit off. Sampson has rushed for at least 100 yards in all but one game this season, and his 17 touchdowns rank second in the FBS. Impressive. Sampson sparked it, Hupel said. What a night on Rocky Top. The Crimson Tide, 5-2. 2-2 in the SEC now, have their work cut out for them the rest of the season. Alabama quarterback Jalen Milroe struggled, connecting on 25 of 45 passes for 239 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. Alabama rushed for just 89 yards compared to Tennessee's 214. You got to look inward first and make sure that everything you're doing is right, said Coach DeBoer of Alabama. Anyone you sense has any type of questioning, you got to make sure you bring them with you. I got to take full ownership of the loss, Miro said. When it comes to communication up front, communication to the guys around, I got to do better. And shout out to the kid, man, because Aaron Rodgers need to learn a little lesson from these college boys. Because Aaron Rodgers absolutely threw Mike Williams under the bus today. But anyway, I like that, Milrose. At least his answer on the surface is what you want to hear. Sorry, guys, I lost my place in this article. Trailing 21-17, Alabama took over possession on its own 30 with 2:25 left in regulation. An unsportsmanlike conduct penalty on wide receiver Kendrick Law stymied the Crimson Tide's drive, allowed Tennessee to stretch the lead to 7 with the field goal on its next possession. Tennessee overcame 3 turnovers in the first half and trailed 7-0 at halftime. Nico lit the fire with a 55-yard pass to Dante Thornton in the third quarter and a scoring pass to Rizal in the fourth. Recovering takes toughness, Hupel said of the quarterback, mental toughness when it matters the most. How will you perform? It's the next play mentality. Nico said, I got to keep going strong for my guys. The Volunteers grabbed a 14-10 lead, their first of the game. With 1 minute left in the third quarter, Sampson barreled in from 3 yards after Nico connected on a 55-yard pass to Thornton. Early in the fourth quarter, Alabama answered the Vol score with a 7-yard touchdown run from Justice Haynes to go up 17-14. Jeremy Bernard set it up with a 28-yard reception from Milroe. Goes on to say that the Crimson Tide haven't lost twice before the end of October since 2007, Nick Saban's rookie year. Trying to recover from that will be tough with number 19 Missouri and number 8 LSU on the schedule. Woo! Alabama got it tough these next few weeks. The Vols quarterback Nico took a step forward in his growth after overcoming his early struggles to complete 2 key passes in the second half. And as mentioned before, the Crimson Tide will go up against Missouri next week at home. And Tennessee, they have Kentucky next week. So, yeah, man, this is one for the ages. And like I said, Alabama, they look like they had things in the bag in the beginning. Started off with a 7-point touchdown. Started off with a touchdown, went up 7 points, and things just kind of got out of hand from there as far as their identity and what they like to do. But I've always said, too, as far as this offense goes for Alabama, if you can contain Jalen Milroe, you can win the game easily. That's what Vanderbilt did. Who was it? South Carolina last week. They started off with that game plan and did pretty good. Was able to keep the game close. In spurts, they was able to stop Jalen Milroe from running, but the Tennessee Volunteers took a page out of Vanderbilt's book and did exactly what I suggested and exactly what Vanderbilt did. But let's just go over the box scores real quick to see who did what. Jalen Milroe, he went 25 of 45. Once again, 239 yards on the day, 1 touchdown, two interceptions. Jam Miller rushed 12 times for 42 yards. Justice Haynes got that one touchdown on eight carries and 22 yards. And this is something that I do not like when it comes to NFL, or not NFL, just football teams, period. When your quarterback is rushing more than your running backs, it's just not a recipe for success that we seen. It's cool to be a dual threat, but quarterbacks need the quarterback. That's why that position exists. But Jalen also ran 14 times for 11 yards. Very unproductive day, especially with all those carries. Ryan Williams led the way for the wide receivers. My favorite player in the league right now, the young 17-year-old phenom. He had 8 receptions, 73 yards for that one touchdown score that Jalen Monroe threw. Jeremy Bernard pitched in 5 receptions for 72 yards, 4 receptions for Kendrick Law, in addition to 37 yards. Justice Haynes, in addition to his run game work, he also caught 5 passes for 34 yards. Jalen Monroe did fumble the ball, but the team was able to recover. And Jahad Campbell lost the fumble. As far as the defense go, they were able to rack up 3 sacks, excuse me. Impressive. And then they also were able to get 2 interceptions, one by Malachi Moore, the other by Jalen Matthews. So the defense was there. Not Jalen Matthews, excuse me. Mbuga. Whoa, some of these names, man. Young man name's Jalen as well. Kudos to him, man. I just can't say that last name right now anyway. But on the Victor side, we had Nico. He went 14 of 27, 195 yards, 1 touchdown score, 1 interception. Not a bad day at the office for him. 26 carries by Dylan Sampson to pitch in 139 yards, and he had 2 touchdown scores. Forgive me, y'all. I'm a little sleepy, but anyway, and he was pretty much the entire offense for this Tennessee Volunteers team. In the reception department, Brew McCoy, he had 6 receptions for 80 yards. Chris Brazil had 1 touchdown score to go with his 2 receptions on the day and 27 yards. 3 receptions for Dante Thornton to pitch in a very big 70 yards as well. So fumbles, we had Dylan Sampson. He did fumble the ball once. And the Vols were able to rack up 3 sacks, a sack and a half for James Pierce, a half a sack. Jeremiah Talander, and 1 sack for Dominic Bailey, So, who got these picks? Will Brooks and Jermod McCoy for the Tennessee Vols. So, yeah, man, impressive victory for the Vols. They keep their playoff hopes alive, and essentially, I would expect Alabama would have to win out at this point, seeing how competitive the SEC is, and seeing that they've already taken 2 big losses, one in a very huge upset, and another against a contender themselves, respectfully, in Tennessee. But this is not the Alabama team that Nick Saban has branded for the last 20 or so years, and it looked like this team doesn't have much of an identity right now, and I don't even know where they go from here. Taking these 2 big losses in a close game. That game against Vandy was close as well. They also won a close game last week versus South Carolina, but could have easily lost that one. The quarterback for South Carolina, man, he was only about 2 good passes maybe from winning that game. So we'll see where the Crimson Tide go from here. Also, we'll see where the Vols go from here. They got big games